Hey, good afternoon. It's Valerie Ling here. I haven't been on live for a while because I have actually been on leave for about a week and have just come back into work. I've just finished my grocery for what is allowed of me, and before the thought leaves my mind, I wanted to bring to you the issue of doing and being productive. So my next event is going to be a free one for psychologists, early career psychologists who are burning out, and we ran a little mini survey to check in on them, and 350 responses, and overwhelmingly is just how frayed the sense of self and identity and burning out and being anxious and trying to get through these tough times. And this is actually something that I find has come up quite commonly in sessions with clients, is that when you're growing up or when you were younger, that you didn't have the freedom to just be and do nothing. That there is a sense that we have to fill up the spaces by being productive, otherwise we're lazy. It's a myth, and it's quite problematic because kids who are faced with with environments that are busy and hectic and constantly engaged, where if you're just daydreaming or not doing anything, you get in trouble, eventually become adults who don't form their sense of self, their sense of who they are if they're not doing something, and get suspicious and anxious when they are resting, lying down, sitting, daydreaming, being creative, twiddling thumbs, being silly. That tends to be what we see, and it's quite a common thing for people who actually get quite exhausted to not have a real sense of who they are and worry when they are not doing anything and resting. So in our home today, one of our kids is having a mental health day off, and one of our kids is frequently seen just lying on their floor or sitting up, sitting down. And it's like, they just need to be on the ground, and it's like this grounding experience. And we are quite often just found in our worlds being quite sedentary. And I just want to say that needs to be normalized more and more. If we, particularly if you are in lockdown, if you are at home, if we fill up our children's worlds with a message that says you have to be doing, that rest must always be productive, they will never know what it is to just do nothing, to just sleep, other than sleep, which is another common thing that I wish I could totally bust out of this world, that the only time we rest is when we sleep. That is not true. To be productive, that is to produce, you actually need to pull back. You need to get creative. You need to contemplate. That's another line that we've been using at home, just contemplating. You need to procrastinate effectively as well. You need to have space. If you don't make space for thoughts, wafting emotions, emptiness that just doesn't need to be filled up with noise, you actually won't be productive. It just doesn't work. So here's the thing. If you are currently in a lockdown situation or still tied up with what's happening with COVID-19, don't think that you're being unproductive, right? In fact, you're probably conserving a lot of energy and emotional resources right now to be able to stay even keel and stable in the midst of some really trying times. Even in what's happening in the world, we know that these are troubled times that we live in. And so don't try to fill up the space with more things to do. Don't feel guilty as a parent that you're not filling up your kids' world with things to do, because the way that you're feeling is actually how they're feeling, except that they don't have very much life experience to guide them to know that that's okay. So pull back, pace out, encourage people to just, do nothing if you have to. and at the same time stick to some really healthy habits and routines that are important. So of course we need to move, we need to eat well, and we need to sleep well. You know, if those things are in place in gravity without too much without excessive expectations that they need to be big and grand, then the rest of the time can be blank spaces. That's all right. Don't fill them up, especially not during this time. So we are all of us, writing and encoding this experience into our memory banks. And we don't want the virus of guilt and shame and feeling like a failure to be written into those memory banks. Try to think about it as it's a time when we're all going through a really difficult time. The world has to kind of be on a bit of a pause, and so can we. And with that, I better head out of this car park before someone shoos me away. Catch you later.